This is called Consequences. And this song was written, we always blaming everybody else for shit that we do to ourselves. We don't want to take responsibility. So we wrote this song for the youth so they can start taking responsibility as well as myself.
Through being attacked several times, you know, I decided one day that I wasn't going to take it anymore, and I fought back. And that pretty much brought me to prison.
You need to watch your intentions. Stop, look, and listen before it gets you life in a prison. Or worse, step in a box suit and covered in dirt. In this life of cause and effects, we cause ourselves to get hurt. Consequences, we all need to watch our intentions. Stop, look, and listen before it gets you life in a prison. Or worse, step in a box suit and covered in dirt. In this life of cause and effects, we cause ourselves to get hurt. Consequences.
So if you could take us to the day of your crime, right, and walk us through that day, how would that story go?
It was on a Sunday back in 1986, and my godbrother, he was like, man, guess we're gonna be at the beach. We're on our way to the beach. And I'm like, who? He said, the girls that we met last night. I'm like, oh, cool. So we get up to the pier and we go inside the photo booth, and that's when this guy walks up. He had a little 2-year-old son with him, and he said, this is my son and he likes to fight. And I looked at the dude, and I had no idea, you know, where he was going with that, and I just kind of like shrugged my shoulders. So we get up, walk over to the hamburger stand, we order some food, and I hear somebody yelling behind me as I'm at the counter. And I turn around, and it's the dude from the arcade, and he's saying something to the effect of, bitch, you disrespecting your woman. And I'm looking around like, and he's pointing at me, and he's like, yeah, nigga, you disrespecting your woman. And I kind of like stared at him for like 3 seconds, and I turned back around to the counter. I hear the dude make a hawking sound, like a spit sound. And he's like, and I look, and by the time I look, he's already spitting at me. I said, man, I don't want to fight you. He was like, all right. And then they walked off, and I keep walking out in the streets, and I'm just waiting for the bus, and it's not coming. And 7 minutes go by. Next thing I know, they're coming back. I had a knife in my pocket. I always carried a knife in LA. And I put my hand in my pocket, and I unlocked my knife, and I slid it up under my wrist sleeve. And it got real loud for a second, and then it just went completely silent. And then the guy looked at me, and he said,
so you ready to fight, nigga?
And when I turned like this to look, he grabbed a bar and literally went and spit in my face, literally. And whew. Damn. Yeah, when I felt it, that shit was unimaginable. And it hit me, and I went back like that, and then that's when he grabbed me like this, and then he picked me up. And as I'm in the air, I was stabbing him, and he just dropped to the ground. Then I ran over there, and I went up under the bar. I threw the knife away. I went to the gas station, wiped the blood off my hands. We started hearing a lot of police cars, helicopters. They started blocking the blocks off.
As a lifer, you had to go in that boardroom and you had to get them an explanation that made them feel suitable enough to release you back into society.
And I recognized that I had a problem. I was like, no, it can't be everybody else, because what I just did wasn't called for. I killed a person in front of his 2-year-old son. You know, regardless of who started it or who was at fault, that 2-year-old watched me stab his father to death. I did a lot of studying. I did a lot of reflections, man. I reflected on everything that happened in my life. I remember in '85, I was out, you know, having a ball, and I came home. And my mom's was on the couch naked, and she was crying. And I asked her what was wrong, and she said, Chester raped me. So I always had a lot of guilt behind not being able to protect my moms. And I reflected on things like that, things that I would never talk about. And I got a lot of horrible stories like that. And I knew deep inside I didn't have to kill that brother.
No, we should go.
Go, I got this.
I didn't have to do it, you know, but I had made up my mind prior, the last time I got robbed, the next dude that tried to hurt me, I was gonna kill him. After revisiting these and just really taking a deep analyzation of how that affected me as a kid, I started moving through that pain. Everybody has a story. I'm 48 years old, 2 years from 50. And it's things like when I was 4 years old that still bother me, you know, and I have to recognize that it's bothering me. if I was sitting down with a youngster right now that was going through some horrible shit, man, whether it be his family on drugs or some violence or he on dope or just some crazy, he robbing people or whatever, I guess I would just tell him, brother, you are meant to be more than this.
We all need to watch our intentions. Stop, look, and listen before it gets you life in a prison. Or worse, step in a box suit and covered in dirt. In this life of cause and effects, we cause ourselves to get hurt. Consequences, we all need to watch our intentions. Stop, look, and listen before it gets you life in a prison. Or worse, step in a box suit and covered in dirt. In this life of cause and effects, we cause ourselves to get hurt. Consequence, he didn't know that getting put on mid-death. Almost a year ago to this day, he be taking his last breath for a set. He thought this was it, all fun and glory. Dayton's diamonds and money, pretty women, you know the story.